friends. Welcome to Q's on the Move. I'm Brother Donald Williams II, the proud chairman for the Fatherhood Initiative and Mentoring Committee. And on behalf of the 37th District Representative, Brother Kevin M. Fofo, and the entire brotherhood of the mighty 2nd District that comprises of 5 states, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. The 2nd District comprises of 4,000 brothers and has approximately 85 chapters. Again, welcome to this segment of Q's on the Move. As we wrap up Black History Month, we want you to remember that every day, did I say every day? Every day, remember that Black history is American history. And what we want to do is encourage you to be history makers in your family and in your community. Omega history and our story since the founding of our beloved fraternity over 110 years ago is about working together collectively for a greater impact. With mentoring our young people, especially our young males, and with helping men become effective dads that are present and engage in their family and their children's lives so that they can grow and glow into healthy adults. With that said, I'll pass the mic to my co-host and trusted friend, Jeff Diggs.
Good evening. We're 61 days into a new year already. It's March 1st already. And so we're entering our 3rd month. For some of you, you're seeing a different platform because we decided this year to start on with a new service provider, our production team, the Stanton Group, who's here with us. And so we're airing every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. here on Facebook and YouTube Live. And you'll hear directly from the chapters within the 2nd District, which is comprised of Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, and New York. Yeah, so I got them all 5 of them. And we do thank you for joining us tonight. So I want to make a quick disclosure that, to let everyone know that the comments expressed on these shows by individuals are their own and not necessarily that which represents the Omega Psi Phi fraternity or the entities that the guests represent or any of our affiliates. All right, with that said, Don, it's back to you.
Hey, family, Q's on the Move is about having meaningful conversation that impacts our community. You know that mentoring and education is like a glove. They go hand in hand. Many of our chapters across the district partners or team with the public school system in their respective community. Brother Diggs, I just can't contain it. I'm so excited to have Black excellent leaders to join us in this moment with all that's going on. I can't wait to hear from them what they are seeing in their school system regarding academic performance and the challenges that our students are having. So with that, Jeff, please do the honors.
Yes, so tonight we have with us the stalwart of Black excellence, and we have some great leaders here with us tonight that's going to be addressing a couple of topics tonight. So we had a bunch, but we narrowed it down to just 2 questions tonight, and it's going to the primary discussion night is going to be around mental wellness with our youth, school safety and security with our youth, and the academic performance as it goes along. So tonight, our special guest would be first Dr. Gorman Brown, who's the principal of Charles H. Flowers High School in Prince George's County. We have Dr. Leroy Evans, who's the principal of Magruder High School in Montgomery County, Maryland. And we have with us the distinguished Dr. Carlton Lampkins, who's currently the Executive Director for Communities and Schools Foundation in Delaware. And he's the former Assistant Superintendent from the state of Delaware. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump on a short 3-minute clip and then we're going to come right in and we're going to jump right into this discussion and get your views on what's going on. And so with that, let's take a quick look at this clip and we'll be right back. Maybe what we'll do is we will show that clip in the end. So with that, let's just jump right into this. Dr. Lampkins and Dr. Brown, we had this discussion a while back, and we were talking about mental wellness and how it relates to our children with this pandemic. And I'm excited to hear your views on this. So, Dr. Lampkins.
Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, for the last couple of years, we all have experienced a great deal of isolation. It has had more of an impact on our young people than we'd like to admit, because a part of their development is interaction. Mm-hmm. And that has been cut off seriously. You know, we all think the children go to school to learn. That's only a part of it. To have the opportunity to interact with adults as well as with their friends, their peers, etc., is just as important, because that's how they grow into being the outstanding young ladies and young men that they become. That has been taken away from them, because learning is not about sitting on Zoom all day. Okay? We have different learning styles that we've not been able to implement those kinds of things. Technology is and has always been considered a tool for learning. All of a sudden in March 2020, it became the end all and be all. Unfortunately, many young people, their parents were not there to supervise them. So engagement in the instructional process was seriously lost. Plus, you know, one of the key strategies for keeping young people on task is what we call proximity. Well, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff missing between a Zoom and where they are. They can cut off their cameras. They could disengage at a very high level. And that, all of those things together equal learning loss. And the issue now is, how do we catch our young people up for the 2 years that they basically have lost? And no one wants to talk about that. But as the young people say now, fact, okay, that's real talk. That's so right. I'm going to turn this over at this particular time to my brother, Dr. Gorman Brown, who will give you some additional pieces to the perspective.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lampkins, and thank you, brothers, for inviting me to be a part of Q's on the Move tonight, man. It's a very important conversation that we are engaging in tonight, primarily because we are in the midst of a silent crisis. You know, Frederick Douglass, and you know, I love that you guys opened up with acknowledging that we are still celebrating Black history. And so one of my favorite quotes from Frederick Douglass is that it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. And so normally in the course of education, what we're attempting to do is to get students ready that are age appropriate, going through these transitions, going through these developmental phases, and responding accordingly to ensure that they become college and career ready and confident, so that they can grow and become leaders in our society. So what the 2 years has done is that it has arrested development for all students. So regardless of how well they did academically, and I think Dr. Lampkins mentioned that and really captured that well, that, you know, the 2 years of learning loss has impacted their ability to learn on standard. There's no question about that. But the 2 years where they did not have the opportunity to interact with each other has stunted their natural development. So let me tell you what that looks like. So at the high school level, we are a large public school, Central Prince George's County, 2,500 kids, approximately 1,250 9th and 10th graders, another 1,250 11th and 12th graders. So my 9th and 10th graders never had a middle school experience. They have been placed into a high school of 2,500 students. And the last time that they have been in a regular school setting, they were in 6th and 7th grade. So imagine that. Imagine the type of development that occurs. The reason that students were pulled out of middle schools, it used to be in education, we would go K-8 and go to high school. Well, educators realized very quickly that there was something going on with our adolescents, our early adolescents between the age of 13 and 15, needed to have a different environment because their learning needs were different than those early those elementary school kids, and they weren't quite ready to be up there with the high school kids, which is why they ended the whole idea around junior high schools, and they created a middle school model. And so what happens in middle school is that students are taught some life skills, some organization skills, the ability to resolve conflict productively, the ability to mediate through their problems. They're taught resilience. They're supported in a manner where a lot of the best teachers have an elementary school mindset where they understand that they still have to hold these young people's hand and not completely let it go, but also embrace the whole idea that these young people are on their way to high school. So those 2 years that they were in middle school are essential to their development. So that arresting of their development means that they're now in high school. They do not have the social emotional skills. They struggle. Even the kids that did well academically struggle with social emotional adaptation, meaning that when the first time that they come against a challenge, they become they lose confidence. The first time that they enter a conflict, a lot of them, the first thing they do is they go to fighting. A lot of times when they don't have the organizational skills or the executive functioning to get themselves together, which are all things that are developed in middle school, a lot of times they teach just how to take notes in middle school. They don't know how to do those things. They don't know how to manage their time. And so we have a group of 9th and 10th graders, 1,250 9th and 10th graders who are still operating in a mindset of middle school and late elementary school and are not ready for high school. So what we're trying to do now at Charles Herbert Flowers is that we're trying to reinstill confidence in them. And so I thank our brothers from Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We've had a mentoring program here at Charles Flowers for the last 10 years called Manhood 101. And in Manhood 101, we take our boys and focus on our boys, and we instill our tenets of manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift in the work that we're doing with them to help them to develop those organizational skills, those executive functioning skills, those the social emotional ability and the confidence that they need in order to be successful. But now we've had to take those tenets that we used to reserve for students who were not quite ready for high school to get them ramped up and ready and institute them across the board. So we have created a Charles Flowers called GBED. It's called Get Better Every Day, because what we know is that until young people have the confidence to believe that they can operate successfully at the high school level, then they are not going to embrace the challenges that they're facing. So GBED is really rooted in providing positive reinforcement to students on a daily basis. It's rooted in self-reflection, and it's rooted in allowing teachers to partner with students the way that they do in middle school at the high school level to help them develop these skills that they missed when they missed their middle school experience. So, Dr. Lampkins, I think you hit it straight. You hit the head, the nail on the head. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to kind of provide some insight in that regard. The last thing I want to say is that if you want to know what it's like right now, and if you were ever in education, or if you experience society as a whole, if you think back about 25 years ago when we were recovering from another epidemic, and a lot of us that taught in the urban environment remember what it was like to teach on the back end of the crack epidemic, when students were not parented, when they were coming in with lacking social skills. They acted in a survival mindset because they had not had the opportunity to receive the type of reinforcement that they needed in order to be successful. That's kind of what it's like right now in schools, and so when I started off the conversation with, we are in a silent emergency, we will not get to educate students at standard until we address the underlying mental health issues that exist with our young people.
That's great. And when we start talking around mental health, it's a subject that's close to my heart. And but with that, with the issues of mental health and school safety and all, Dr. Evans, give me your perspective on this.
Well, once again, I want to thank everyone, and it's an honor to be this evening joining a distinguished panel to talk about some very, very important subjects. And I think wellness and safety go hand in hand. Wellness is born out of nurturing in an environment that is safe and resourceful. And Dr. Brown, I think you really hit it on the head when you said we are in a crisis. It's not a silent crisis. I think it's up front, and it's personal, and it's what we're facing is the evils of society. We're not trying to capture the hearts of our youth. It's really reaching out and corrupting their minds. And for whatever reasons, we're in a very strange situation. But school safety is so important. Education and learning cannot take place unless students are in a safe environment. And that includes being able not only to be physically safe, but to have that wellness. And that's an important part of what we do. But creating a safe environment for school starts with what does society do? And in Maryland, we have what's called a Maryland Safe to Learn Act. And that means that we have to have an environment where students will have, certain structures in place that will secure their safety. Now, this doesn't always work, but, schools have to have a plan. They have to have an emergency plan. They have to have drills. They have to be able to practice these things. So I think that, what does this start with? And we have to look at, what's going on in the homes of students. And that involves that home to school partnership. Communication is crucial to establishing a safe environment. It's not just knowing that something's occurring, but what are we going to do about it? And it's not just going through a drill, but it's really meeting students where they are. And that's in their homes, that's in their communities, and having a much better understanding of how they live, where they live, and what's going on with them. And having that partnership with various community agencies, a wholesome, healthy partnership with law enforcement, not something that students are going to fear, and not something that's going to challenge rules of engagement and social justice, but something that's going to embrace our youth so that they have a fair chance at being everything they can possibly be. And there's some key things about that. As I mentioned, communication, student involvement, valuing what students have to say, listening to them, being slow to speak and quick to listen, and understanding that they have to have a voice in their own lives. We oftentimes want them to be accountable, but we don't teach them how can they be accountable and responsible for who they are, and teaching them that, these things that matter most to them are the things that they say to themselves. So having that kind of teaching and nurturing within each individual is really important. And when we're in a school, what's most important in that for our youth and our children is establishing trusting relationships. Students need to have a trusted adult, establishing meaningful relationships, and this is all levels, pre-K through 12th. We have to reach out to them. We have to value a student voice. Student social emotional well-being is just a crucial part of this, and being connected to mental health services. So I think in order for this to take place, we've got to know our students. We've got to be able to have schools that are nurturing, that are functional, and not just in terms of the educational and academic opportunities that they provide, but the wholesome social environment, because the education is only one aspect of this. It's the social emotional well-being that allows students to function effectively as individuals in our society. So we have to place a priority on these things, parallel with what we view as our educational mission. It's also a key component of our success. So I think that those things that are really crucial boils down to whether or not we're going to establish the kind of relationships with students that will put them in the position, not just to win at school, but to win at life. And that's, what I think Dr. Brown mentioned, being college and career ready. But it's also, in addition to that, and that's a major part of our work as academic institutions, but it's also to have them win socially. And that's a multitude of things, but basically putting them in a position where they'll be responsible for who they are and not worry about who they're not, and having the courage to say something if they see something and be actively involved. So there's so many components, but I think what's crucial is to understand that we are in a crisis, and how can we manage both, having a safe school while we're providing the most resourceful education we possibly can for our youth.
Yeah, and certainly thank you gentlemen, you distinguished gentlemen, for your expertise and above all, your caring for your students. I'd like for each of you to take just 2 minutes and your professional opinion, or just your opinion in general. What can we do next? What is the best next possible course for our children? And so maybe we'll pick on you, Dr. Brown, this time first.
Thank you, Brother Diggs and Dr. Evans. It is an honor, and watched Dr. Lampkins and the work that you guys have done, and it's an honor to be on a panel with you guys, and I'm really thank you for sharing the words of wisdom that you did. I think you're right on. We have to get them ready for life, and that life, getting ready for life, is about developing confidence. And so we have to spend, in Prince George's County Public Schools, one of the things that we've done well right now is that we've ensured that every school has a mental health clinician. And so I think that speaks to that our leadership is, they are aware at this point that we cannot move forward until we stabilize our school communities. So having a real commitment to the mental wellness of our young people, allowing them to lead that work in those conversations. We have a group at Flowers called the Principals Action Council. And with the Principals Action Council, they lead work around bullying and cyberbullying, around how do you deal with issues around that you're dealing with mental health issues. If you are, depression is a big deal right now, and having student leaders talk about how they've dealt with depression. A lot of them were very outgoing students who had to spend 2 years, upperclassmen, who had to spend 2 years at home and it was completely counter to the young person and the young adult, the young leader that they were becoming. And so now they're helping to couch those conversations for our young people. So I believe that Dr. Evans said it well. The bottom line is that we have to let these young people take the lead on what that work looks like within our school community, and allow them to speak to it in a very candid and organic manner.
Dr. Lampkins?
When I think about the challenges that we face going forward, I think it becomes even more critical that we provide professional development for our staff at all levels, from the superintendent on down, if you will, to the housekeeping staff. They need to recognize signs when kids are depressed, anxiety, bipolar. I didn't say diagnose. I said signs that can help them help our young people. Our parents need to have training on a variety of mental health issues. We need to have programs in schools. We have advisory periods in schools or special activity periods. Some of that time needs to be devoted to social emotional learning for staff as well as students. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. We appreciate your words of wisdom. Dr. Evans?
I really appreciate everything that I've heard, and it's really, it's indeed an honor to sit on a panel with distinguished educators, Dr. Lampkin and Dr. Brown. But to me, I think it's a very simple thing that I live by. I try to meet students where they are, teach them to delay immediate gratification long enough to build a foundation in themselves so that they can be available for learning. It's so important that they understand this and take advantage. And we have to establish, as my colleagues have said, we have to establish the environment both at home and at school. But when they're not with us, which is a great deal of their time, whether they're in the building, they're not with us all the time. They need to know who they are and not be afraid of who they are and who they're not, and invest deeply in themselves. And that means having goals, having a mission, and we need to have people around them that not only are trained and prepared to do this, but are willing to make the investment in the students that we want them to do in terms of investing in themselves.
Thank you, gentlemen. And it's my honor to be having this opportunity to sit with this distinguished panel. And I will turn it back over to our host, Brother Don Williams.
Wow. Again, an honor to have three leaders of excellence from the best consistent high-performing public schools, Prince George's, Montgomery County, the retired deputy superintendent in Delaware. This has been a special moment. Don't miss the moment, family. So we just want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and strategies with our community on what you've seen in your schools in terms of academic performance, mental wellness, and school security and safety. In terms of mentoring, we've been hunkered down for about 2 years, and Omega Men are welcome into schools. Prior to COVID, they were welcome into the school building to do that trusted relationship piece you were talking about, to do what's best, to do what we do best, and that is mentoring our young people to help them reach their full potential, and forming relationships with educators and students to encourage them to see it through. And so, my friends, as we come to the end of this segment of Cues on the Move, do we have time for the clip? It's only 2 minutes. If you got time for the clip, I'll go straight to the announcements. Matter of fact, let me go to the announcement, then we come to the clip. And so the announcements.
We've
we
been
have
following 16 students since the first day of school, and they echo what was found in our massive national survey.
I've never felt so much stress in one school year.
The study surveyed 75,000 students from 2018 to 2020, and in the fall of 2020 alone, found that over 56% of students said their stress related to school increased compared to the time before coronavirus.
I definitely feel very stressed.
I probably get around like 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Why am I having so many mental breakdowns?
In October, we saw that in our student in Chicago. Allegra went from frustration with online glitches
The whole thing would just like kick me out.
to a near meltdown.
I don't understand. And I can't ask teachers for help.
And looking back now, what was your lowest moment of the school year so far?
It would be that time I cried over my physics project. At that point, I was like, this online is not going to work.
The study also found 41% said their effort toward learning decreased.
My attention definitely decreased.
I'm still surprised at how much online's affecting me.
That was John in Pennsylvania last December. Now he says he's constantly distracted.
Snow blowers, dogs barking, parents going in and out, and it really can mess with me.
Another finding, 50% of students said the strength of their relationships with teachers has decreased.
I kind of sent a follow-up email to one of my teachers, kind of just like telling him about everything that's been going on. And it took him almost like 4 days to respond.
Do I believe kids will be okay? And will they make it? Absolutely. Will they be able to do that alone? No.
Learning how to manage
I'm just trying to think positively.
I'm trying my best.
in a year filled with the unexpected. Rahima Ellis, NBC News.
Thank you so much for playing that. That sums it up. If we can go to the announcements, please. As we wrap up this segment of Cues on the Move. Next slide. Family, we have a district-wide SAT, ACT spring boot camp. It starts on Sunday from 3 to 5 and Monday and Tuesday from 6 to 8. Please register at www.ucfinc.org. And Carla Dickerson, known as the Scholarship Lady, will be your administrator for the SAT, ACT boot camp, teaching those strategies. Next slide. I'll be remiss if I didn't give it a shout out to Brother Anthony Anderson, Star from Blackest. We had an outstanding virtual 2nd District Youth Leadership Conference and Game Changer Conference on this past Saturday. So Mega's doing our darnest to stay connected and engaged with our community. So I want to give a shout out to the Fatherhood Initiative Mentoring Committee for the important mentoring work they are doing across the 5 states. And the key message on the other side of COVID, we want you to live with a purpose. Make your life count every day in every way. That's it for Cues on the Move. We see you on next Tuesday.
Thank you, distinguished panel. We appreciate all that you do.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.